Democracy 2012 coverage tops live on 5 tonight. Just a day after a major shakeup at the polls, GOP presidential hopeful Newt Gingrich headed right here to Northeast Ohio. This all comes as the Republican candidates take aim at Super Tuesday, less than a month away. Good evening, I'm Danita Harris.
And I'm Lee Jordan. Ohio will be a key battleground state for the candidates in March and November. We have team coverage on the impact of the big races here in Ohio, starting with News Channel 5's Paul Kiska, who was at today's event with Speaker Gingrich in Cleveland. And Paul, he didn't directly mention his GOP rivals.
Well, that's exactly right, Lee. Newt Gingrich did not touch on the other Republican presidential candidates in this race during his campaign stop here in Cleveland. He did touch on a number of topics, mainly manufacturing here in Northeast Ohio, during his 12-minute speech to workers at the Jurgens plant here in Cleveland. Despite an energetic introduction, this was no rah-rah speech in front of a throng of Gingrich supporters.
How many of you would agree that Washington is significantly on the wrong track? Just raise your hand.
Instead, a group of Cleveland factory workers and managers from both sides of the political aisle assembled, and perhaps exactly what Gingrich wanted today to frame his speech, focusing on the importance of manufacturing. Jurgens is a Cleveland factory that makes tools and parts for companies around the world and the U.S. military. Gingrich wants to increase defense spending so factories can help build up the U.S. military arsenal.
We have to have companies like this. You cannot be the arsenal of democracy if you don't have an arsenal. So we very badly need to rebuild our manufacturing base.
If we start losing more and more of our manufacturing skills, we're going to lose the ability to have a defense strategy out there.
Gingrich supports corporate tax cuts to help companies cut spending and create jobs. While he never mentioned his Republican primary opponents today, he did target President Obama, saying Alaska should be opened up for oil drilling to cut dependence on foreign oil and to keep gas prices from soaring.
If we had an administration that favored reducing the cost of gasoline by increasing the supply, we would bring the price down pretty rapidly.
He mentioned the manufacturing, how important it is to Cleveland and the whole Northeast Ohio area. They're big. Manufacturing is the #1 supporter of our area, so to have him come in and let us know that he supports that's good. I'm not a big fan of his idea about drilling for fossil fuels in Alaska. I prefer a more green approach.
And expect Newt Gingrich and the other candidates to be back here in the Buckeye State over the next few weeks as they gear up for Super Tuesday, the Ohio primary, March 6th. Live downtown, Paul Kiska, News Channel 5.
Well, I guess toward the end, Gingrich's speech got a little bit grim.
Well, exactly, Lee. He talked a lot about jobs and the U.S. military, but then he went into his conversation, which he has gone into before, just a little more deeper this time, about his concern over Iran getting its hands on developing nuclear weapons at another terrorist attack. He said, he talked about 9/11, but said next time around it could be far worse, and he gave some grim statistics. We'll hear those at 6 o'clock.
Okay, Paul, thanks very much.